Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Di and Merry Christmas to you all. I've just added some little ribbons there. What I'm doing today, I thought we might just have a little craft along. In my glue book I've got heaps of scraps. I just grabbed a whole bundle here, and this is the glue book that we started. I don't know when we started that. Was it the beginning of this year? This year's gone so quick, I don't know. But if just to recap, it was a $1 throwaway, after New Year's from a local newsagent. I wish I'd got about 6 of them now because they all went to the tip apparently. But anyway, that's another story. I'll learn my lesson next time. And I thought this would make a good glue book because on the backs of the pages it's just got this lovely colour. And I can tear them out. And I have been using them for belly bands and for journal cards. Some are okay, like I could go back and put paint splatters on them. But anyway, I thought I'd just try and get rid of some of these scraps. I swear that they multiply in the dark every night. But I don't know what I was thinking there, but that's interesting. I think it might be Wilbur Pig. He looks like Wilbur out of Charlotte's Web, doesn't he? I think it was Wilbur. See, that's very, very plain, but it'll come in handy for a backing at some point, somewhere down the line. So I was writing in my journal too today and reflecting, I guess, over the past year, if you can call it a year. It feels like 3 months. And being Christmas, it's, bittersweet because I miss my parents and everybody seems to have passed. All my, relatives and all of that. I've got cousins, but they don't live in the same town as me, and yeah, it's some, it's just nostalgic, I think is the word I'm looking for. Feeling a bit nostalgic. And yeah, it's easy to be a little bit kind of like let it get to you on a day like today because it's raining and so dark here. You'd probably tell from the shadows. I've got 3-4 lights on me, plus an overhead. So anyway, I'm getting ready. I'm going to start very soon. I'm going to start a blue journal. I love doing blue, and there was a lovely blue kit just released recently. I can't remember off the top of my head who, but somebody. How many more pages have I got to fill this up? Yeah. I'll just try and get rid of the little scrappy ones, I think. So all I'm going to do is just grab a handful of varying colours, textures, stuff. Actually, it might be nice that way, maybe. And just place it down where it just, without overthinking it, just somewhere where it feels attractive, where it feels right. I don't know. Just grabbing what I can, because I can always cover it up with a huge focal point or paint, or I think the biggest thing for me is to just get it down, get it off my desk. I really like those papers. Actually, you know what, that could just come in half there, I think. Make 2 scraps out of the 1 scrap. And am I supposed to be halving the mess die or doubling the pile? Wow. I'm just finishing the rest. I've taken, because it's 33 degrees today, the humidity is 100%, and as I say, it's pouring with rain, so you can imagine the heat and the steam. You can feel it coming off the ground, and so I've been having an iced coffee. Why didn't this occur to me 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe longer, to have an iced coffee at morning tea time? Hello? But anyway, I've started the practice now, and there's no going back because it really does cool you off. I'm sitting under air conditioning. I can still feel the humidity. Excuse me, I've just got ice in my mouth. So, 'twas the night before Christmas. The day before Christmas. And there's only the two of us. And there's yeah, I need more people. I do. But alas, I have to wait until the people can come. So I wonder where you are I feel for you, all you guys in the northern hemisphere, in the cold and the snow, and I hope you don't get colds, and I hope you're not feeling unwell. When I do these glue book thing, sometimes I don't ink around them, each little scrap, and then sometimes I do, and I think it depends if I'm being, trying to be practical and quick just to get rid of scraps, or whether I'm using it as sort of like a collage experience as to whether I ink or not. But I really do think it's worth going the extra mile. This has been one of the best, most useful things that I've done this year, is to have a glue book. And I love the size. I mean, it's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So, that's a great size. Most of my journals are 9 by 7 or something like that. So it's really, 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 really handy. I wonder what I'm trying to make. I'm not one really to make New Year's resolutions or hugely into bullet journaling and planning my year ahead and all that. I'm more like a free spirit. I like to be inspired and just create as I go along. Just sit down at my table and mainly I take inspiration from others, or things that I've seen, rather than experiences. So I don't get out a lot, I guess. And so yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. Now I've lost all train of thought. Oh lordy. Actually, that would even be lovely across the bottom, wouldn't it? It's so nice. Kind of like that. Now I'm overthinking a bit. I don't really want to overthink, because I'd like to just get this down. Actually, I wonder. Too much. Just trying to get them all laid out in an attractive manner, isn't it? Always like a bit of writing. I do like the green. Do you like the green? Does that go? just need a bit. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, we have a winner. Chicken dinner. Not too much thought involved here. Now I'm just going to glue them down. Except that one needs a bit of... Yep, that one just needs a bit of ink. Yeah, so unfortunately we don't have any babies in our family. Nowhere is there a baby. Not a baby was heard. How sad is that? It's the end of the line for our family. We no one's. That's it. There's no one to take the names further on both sides. So, yeah, what a shame, because babies and children. That's where I was going with that. To my mind, you know, it's all about the children at Christmas. I just love seeing the smiling face of babies and little ones at Christmas. Anyway, maybe we should just change the subject. I mean, because that's why we do art, isn't it? We go to our happy place and just be nothing but creative. Forget our pain, our troubles, the world's troubles, everything like that. Boy, there's a lot of trouble. Oh, Lordy. We never ask the question anymore. Oh, I wonder what the next year's going to hold. Because every year there's more and more trouble. Anyway, looking back, oh, this has been a great year for my channel. I mean, all you marvelous people, all my wonderful subscribers, my friends, 1,000 of you, over 1,000 now. Oh, wow, that's a lot of new friends. Thank you so much for subscribing and for joining in. Every time you watch my video, I mean, don't forget to subscribe if you're catching this the first time. Please subscribe. Welcome, and please subscribe. I'd love to have you join us. Now, I think I had that in a bit, didn't I? Yeah, that would be so cool. I think we better go there. I want to say there. Yes, so thank you so much. Fancy getting to that. I think it's been about 4 years, and that was my ultimate aim, my ultimate goal. So now that I've achieved that goal, that felt so good. Like, as I say, I'm not really a goal setter. So now where was that? Oh, where was that? Where? I'll have to put it up there, I think. I'll go up there. Hey. Maybe that there. Where was that one? Was that there? Actually, that'd be nice across the top. What do you think? I don't know. I'd rather it down. awful when you forget what you were doing. Oh yes, that was somewhere. Must have been up there. Right, that makes sense. I try not to make them overlap too much so that I don't, so that I keep the bulk down for each page. I'd rather cut them off rather than put them under and create, you know, really a lot of bulk. Because otherwise they can get as thick as the cardboard, and when I make my tags and things, I don't like them that thick, if you know what I mean. Now, that could probably go over. I think that should go down first. I'll put that one down. I probably should have put a time limit on that too, because that's really good, isn't it, when you have a time limit? Yes, so Christmas in Australia. Oh, I'm assuming that you're watching this and you're from overseas somewhere amazing. So it's obviously beautiful and hot here. A lot of people go to the beach, although I pity them. I pity them if they're at the beach in this weather. Imagine camping in the rain, but then again, it can be fun. Yeah, Christmas time is all about mowing the lawns, making the house lovely, visiting, shopping, prawns, barbecues, trying to stay away from flies. Trying not to get heat stroke, dodging the snakes. Oh, well, thankfully I haven't seen a snake for a few years, since we moved in from the bush after the fires. They haven't seen any snakes, thank God. Not my favourite thing. Should I move that over a bit? I don't know what to do. I'll just pop that there. Stop overthinking. Now I've left a gap. Will I just cover that? I will just. How lucky. No, actually, I don't know. When we're growing up, you know, we love a traditional Christmas, and we have English, Scottish and Irish ancestry, and even when I was doing my mother's memoirs, when she talked about Christmas time when she was growing up, and the memoirs, she talked about her mum did all the cooking, and they lived in a farmhouse, and they didn't have electricity on. Now, oh Lord, now what year? I can't remember the year they got electricity on, but my mother said she was in her final year of school. Back then it was called matriculation, and in today's terms, I think that's about year 10, fourth form. And so that would have been 1950, oh golly, 54 I'm thinking, give or take a year or so, but it was in the early 50s. And they were the last house on the outskirts of Queanbeyan, which is a town in New South Wales. And they were the last house to actually get the electricity on. And she can remember having to study by lamplight in her final year of school. Wow. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, Christmas. Anyway, so every Christmas that she can remember growing up, it was a huge deal. I mean, given that they had no electricity, the water had to be carried up the hill in pails and buckets and kettles. She got to carry a big heavy kettle, and her father used to do the pails, and they would have that's how they would get water for a bath. And their mother, because she worked, she was to have the first bath, and then I think the father was the last, grandpa was the last to bathe, and so they all took turns, which sounds really gross in today's terms, when everyone can have their own shower. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so if they had to carry the water for the bath, you can imagine they would have had to carry the water for everything. Anyway, they had to heat any water in the house, you had to light the stove. So can you imagine Christmas in Australia, 30 something degree heat, or maybe even 40? I don't know, some years I guess they used to pray for rain and a cooler Christmas day. But the preparations were huge, in a little old country kitchen with a wood stove, and back in those days the houses weren't open planned and there was no air conditioning, and grandma would be at the stove cooking, and she would cook. She would get up, I think, it'd start like in the wee hours of the morning, I feel like I'm talking probably about 4 a.m, and to get everything done. And everyone used to go to their house, all the sisters, the aunts, and everyone. And Mum came from a family that was 5 children in the family, so and all their cousins would come, and so the preparations for the day, they would and forgive me if I'm jumping all over the place, because this is not scripted or anything, this is just coming from my memory, which is shoddy at the best of times. But yeah, so they would they would all descend, the cousins and everybody. Can you imagine? Oh golly, couldn't think of anything worse. In one way, you know, like all that extra, because they had to sweep, and Mum said, you know, they had to do great big chores coming on to summer to get the house ready. They would have to polish the beautiful wood. It was a lovely old farmhouse, and very, very old, historical, and they used to have to buff it and get down on cushions, and of course the children, that was their job, and polish and polish and polish and rub until their little hands and arms nearly fell out. Mum said if we weren't sore by the end of it, you weren't doing it properly. I mean, my goodness, kids today don't know they're alive, do they? And so the floors would be gleaming, all polished and beautiful, and the rugs used to have to be taken out and hung over the old clothesline, which was just two ends of, you know, huge 4x2s probably, I guess, with lines strung between them. And the rugs were hung over that, and the children were given they were given brooms and these wooden paddles, and they would beat the dust out of the rugs, and they'd play games while they did it, and you know, encouraged to think of it as a game. And once again, free labour, lots of children, give them something to do. There was never a dull moment by the sounds of it. So you can imagine how that would be, especially for the boys. I can imagine them getting into that. Yeah, so the house would be spick and span, and they would go and pick if they had lily pillies or lily pilly trees. They've got the beautiful little red berries. I've got one out the side of my house, and they're lovely for Christmas. So they pick the lily pillies and branches of greenery, and they do homemade wreaths to decorate the fireplace, the mantelpiece of the fireplace. What else would they do? Anyway, it was huge. And on Christmas Day, the poor old grandma, I mean, luckily she was young and fit, but all the time over a sweaty stove, cooking for everybody, all alone in the kitchen. Most people were banished because it was so hot. They didn't want to go near the kitchen. Everyone else was just lounging around, listening to the cicadas and swapping stories on the veranda with iced tea, while poor old Grandma slaving away. Oh, it's the story of all of our lives, isn't it? Poor old Mum's in the kitchen doing all the hard work. I mean, it's so foreign to us today, but it also is so nostalgic. Like, it's so, if I could blink and be there to experience it, I would in a heartbeat. Yeah. Looking forward to everybody coming home and all of that jazz, and Santa. And so, yeah, and the meal would be always hot. You couldn't have you'd have cold cuts on Boxing Day, but in our family, being Irish and Scottish, didn't matter what the temperature, you had a hot baked dinner, lunch, a luncheon, with everything, gravy and roast potatoes and roast parsnips and roast and carrots and peas and beans and Brussels sprouts, which I think is pretty universal. Yeah, so wow. Oh, that looks nice there. Wow. And then when they'd all eaten, everybody would then want to have their afternoon nap. So what would happen is, the ritual was that because Grandma had been up all night and cooking and in front of the hot stove and everyone was then fed, the adults went and laid down, bless them, and the young ones had to wash up. It was their job to wash it all up. And you can imagine they weren't allowed to fight over who was washing and who was drying. And of course, it wasn't as easy as all that either, because they had to boil even the little ones, they had to boil the jug. Put the kettle on the stove and be careful with the hot water. I'm guessing the older ones did that. But then again, from what I understand, like Mum said that her job as a child, and I said, well, from what age? And she said, oh, she can remember about 10. Her job was to refill the kerosene in all the lamps. Can you imagine letting a 10-year-old anywhere near kerosene in this day and age? And oh, good lordy. So I'm thinking that children were given a lot more, a lot more scope, I guess, and trust. I guess it would depend on the parent and depend on the child and what they were capable of. And if you taught them correctly how to do something, but then again, look at a lot of children had terrible accidents, and that's why, electricity was invented. And here I am creating more scraps. Yeah, so Christmas in Australia. Why it never occurred to them to think, okay, well, yes, we are Irish and Scottish, and yes, we did this, and our parents did this when we were in a colder climate, and it made sense to have lots of fat. The pudding, oh my goodness, I just can't stand pudding. I guess if I was in a snowy land 100 years ago, it probably would have been very welcome fuel, and giving you sustenance to withstand the cold. But in 40-degree heat, didn't it occur to them to just have a nice piece of salmon and some watermelon or something? Maybe it did occur to some people, but it never occurred to my family. I mean, even even as a young adult, I just mindlessly started doing the same thing. And I can remember at work saying, the girls would be talking about it at work, and they'd say, "Now, what are we all doing? What are we having for Christmas Day?" And I said to them, "Oh, I'm hoping for a cool change, and so I'm going to do the roast." And they'd be going, "Oh, no!" And then I remember going back to work so many times over the years, and they'd say, "Gee, I bet you had a lovely Christmas," because it turned out a bit cooler that day. And probably when I mean a bit cooler, instead of probably being 35 and 100% humidity, we might have been lucky to only have 29 degrees Celsius for that day. But anyway, some years were quite pleasant. But of course it's a different kettle of fish, because I didn't have to light a fire and stoke the stove and make sure that, you know, the wood was kept up to it in terrible heat with no... I mean, it's so easy now, isn't it? Microwave, oven, air conditioning. Wow, you certainly can do it these days. But anyway, we've decided in this house, I know this is only my husband and me, last year I think, we decided, look, let's just have seafood. And it was so wonderful, liberating, even liberating. Does that go together? I think that's quite nice. I wonder what... I think no, green might be best there. No, I think a bit of green. Oh no, that's the other bit of that. There's always that. No. I'm overthinking it. I'll just go through my scraps and see what else I've got. No. It's amazing how it just all comes together. Don't know. Actually, what about that? Too many flowers? No, what about... Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. A little bit of that. Alright. Let's just do a little bit of that. I've got a real thing for green lately. Yeah, so that was Christmas in the past. And we only have our memories now, all the stories. And I wish that I had listened more, don't we all, to all the stories that my grandmother told. Now, my grandmother on my father's side, she was her and grandfather had a dairy farm at Coolangaluke, which is about an hour north, probably an hour and a half north of Newcastle in Australia. Might just slip that under there, I think. What do you think? I think that's acceptable. That's gotten rid of a lot. What time is it? I should look at the time, because this will be forever. I'll just have a look and see. How long is it? 34 minutes. Okay, that's not too bad. I've got to get myself a timer. I've got to find a cheap egg timer or something. I suppose I could use my phone, couldn't I? Duh. I've got Google Home. I could just say to Google to give me a time. Where was I going? See, this is... Where was I going with that story? That grandma and grandpa on a dairy farm. Yeah, they had a big dairy farm back in those days. They had four. My father was the oldest. They had three boys and one daughter, and so they had a lot of willing workers on the farm. A lot happening. At one stage, actually, my grandmother told me that at one stage she worked out that there was 7 years, I think she said, it was either 5 or 7. She never left the boundaries of the property. I mean, just think about that. Wow, that's a long time. That's like, wow, that's a long time. But I said to her, wow, what happened when you needed stuff? I mean, they grew everything. They had the cows and the milk, but there were certain things they needed, and she said they had a travelling man who used to come in with a big wagon, and in the early days it was horse drawn, but then I think about after in the late 1920s, he got a truck, and it had everything on the truck. It had saucepans, and they used to buy the flour. And back in those days, apparently the flour sacks were made of quite a nice material, and so they'd recycle those and use them for underwear. She'd make their underwear out of the flour sacks. But he'd have big bolts of material, and he'd have, like all kinds of wonderful things. I mean, wouldn't that be so much fun to go back and see that? If I could time travel, there's so many interesting things that I'd love to just invisibly, sit and see exactly how things were done. Yeah, but she loved the farm. She loved the cows. All the cows had their own names, real personalities. She knew everyone by name, and she said in the winter, it get very cold up there. Coolingalook is probably just above mid-north coast area, so it's a subtropical region. And the Coolingalook Mountains, they've got a bypass now, but even driving up them, I used to love it as a kid because it was so windy and steep, and you just look down at, or you'd be surrounded, by beautiful tree ferns. And blackboy is what we call, I don't know what the botanical name is, it's probably, incorrect now to call them that, but they're like a beautiful plant with a, I don't know if it's a flower or whatever, but it was sort of like a blackboy spear. Like now, what were they as things? Like reeds, like bulrushes and reed kind of an affair, and it's an Australian plant. You have to correct me in the comments. I'm just babbling at this point. Okay, so that's another page done. This is what happens when you just babble and you've got no script. It's all unscripted. Now I've even lost my train of thought on what I was just talking about. It's a worry. I remember when Nan had her 80th birthday, I did some research. I was the one who gave the speech at her 80th birthday party, and I went to the library and I looked. I don't know where that copy of the speech is, but in 80 years, I listed all the most famous people, all the popes that had ever been in her time, and the prime ministers of Australia, and world massive events, even JFK and all of that. And she said she wanted, by the time she was about 95, she'd had it. She was like, I want to go back She said, I want to be with my husband. But she said, I want to, if I could go back and relive my childhood. She said, they were the happiest days. She said, I don't understand the world. I don't like what I see happening in the world. I don't think any of us like what we see now, do we? But anyway, I digress. And one of her fondest memories, she said, was going to school. There was, how many were in her family? 5 or 6. But they used to have to go, they lived on a farm. I think the farm was located at Gloucester, which is not all that far from Taree and Coolangalup, or the same area, same kind of general area. But they took a horse to school, and he was a quiet old horse, and they had kind of like this sleigh affair. Now, what did she call it? A slide. Yes, she said we'd hook up the slide we'd hitch the slide to the horse, and it must have been like a tray kind of affair that the horse would be harnessed to, and it'd sort of be on a slope, I'm guessing. I don't think it had wheels or anything like that, and they just drag it along the track. So it must have been awfully bumpy, but it had like a hammock affair where the children would sit, so I guess that helped. Their poor little teeth and bones, yet they were strong, and they all lived to be old people. They were tough. But she used to love going to school on the horse, and they tie him up at school, and he had a nose bag, so he had something to eat and drink, and a lot of the children did it, and they went to a bush school, a one teacher bush school. Now I'm just thinking, when was just to put a timeline on this, when was Nan born? She nearly lived to be 100. Yeah, she was born in 1889. So I'm guessing you went to school when you were 5. So what would that be? 1904 in Australia. I mean, we were still primitive out here until 1950s. When I grew up in the 60s, nobody I knew owned a dishwasher. Yet when you look back at American sitcoms and programs, they all seem to have all these modern technology now, which is amazing to me. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so they go to school and there was one teacher, and of course all the kids from kinder. It was a one-room schoolhouse, and everybody went. Everyone was in that room, kinder right up to, I think they call it matriculation. I think I've said that before. Or whenever the child would be ready to work. I think my father went to school until he was about 13 or 14, and he wanted to join the police force. He was the oldest son on the dairy farm, and I don't know whether his parents thought he should have taken it over or worked to take it over, but the second oldest boy did, and that was fine by Dad. He wanted to go to the big smoke, so he went to Sydney all on his own when he was about 14 or 15, he might have been, and he became a police cadet. And they had to learn typing. What else did he tell me? They had to learn typing, and I think they went to TAFE to learn the typing of a night. And he boarded in Newtown. You know, I've never been to Sydney, so I don't know where all these places are. But anyway, he boarded at a flat in Newtown, and unfortunately, I don't know whether I can, I suppose I can just, it's only hearsay, isn't it? But he said while he was on the beat with a senior police officer, he couldn't believe the amount of, like corruption, for want of a better word, where they take money to keep businesses safe. I mean, we're talking just after World War II, or maybe the late, no, when was Dad born? Probably the early 50s, probably in the 1950s sometime. Anyway, couldn't believe it. And also they turned a blind eye to domestic violence, and he decided it wasn't for him. I mean, the boy from the country, he couldn't believe what went on. So that was okay. What happened was, in his boarding house, one of another young chap that was boarding there, he was on the trains. He was learning to he was working on the trains, and my father had always loved trains. Anyway, they became great mates, and he told Dad what he was getting in money for just a junior on the learning to drive a train. And my father, like, it was like triple what he was getting as a police cadet. So he said, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. So he quit being a police cadet, and he went across to New South Wales Railway, where he had a stellar career. He started off as what do they call them? Firemen, where they just on the steam trains, where they shovel the coal in. And I can remember him coming home, and he'd be black, and where he had his goggles on his face, over his eyes, he looked like a black and white minstrel person. It was so, but it was ingrained in him, the soot from the coal all day. So that was really hard yakka. But yeah, so that's what he did all his life, and he worked his way up from being a fireman on steam trains to driving the steam trains, and then going on to learning how to drive and work the diesel trains when they came in, and this was in Goulburn. So that's another, back in those days the roads were horrible. It was about a 13-hour drive between Taree or Coolingalook and Goulburn. And I am feeling nostalgic today. Oh, okay, well, that's another one done. Tell you what, I'm going through these scraps. It's wonderful. Anyway, he ended his career by driving the XPTs, which are the trains that we have today, and he drove them between Taree and Sydney and back, and that was pretty complex. And 55-year career, I think he ended up having on the railway. He got a gold watch for his efforts. I was so proud of him. Yeah, good days. That's very unusual colours, that. It's I like it, sometimes I like it more than other times, if you know what I mean. Depends what I put with it. Yeah, so many a Christmas Dad would have to work, and then my mother was a nurse. She went back nursing. She was learning how to be a nurse when my father met her in the 50s, after she left school. And oh, that's quite nice that way. Maybe. I don't know. And so yeah, both hardworking. It's a shame they hadn't lived longer. They both died when they were 73. They went within 3 years of each other, and died the same age. That's nice. I like that. Very neutrally page, isn't it? I like that. Make sure they don't overlap too much. This is good, getting rid of these pages. I don't mind that either. Oh, that's nice. I'll just get rid of that line. So obviously I am feeling very nostalgic today, which is, I guess, what Christmas does, doesn't it? Too much? Too much, no. That looks like this. If you squinted, that looks like the stem of the rose. I wanted something, maybe that one. That's quite nice. But I want to try and use a lot of that so that I don't have to create another scrap. Looks like we might have to get rid of this big piece and just pop something neutral in there. That's nice. That's nice. Am I allowed to cut that off? I think I am. No rules. Yes, so please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. YouTube tells us now. Please keep reminding people halfway through, at the beginning, halfway through, and then at the end of the video. So, I never remember. But today I did. Yeah, so what a year. It's been fantastic. I don't know what I've got planned for next year, except I did see there's so many challenges going, and I want to do them all, but then I want to do my own stuff too, and there's just not, I can't do it all. I'm too old. I don't have that kind of energy. But there was something that Anne Brooks, I did Sew for the Soul with Anne Brooks, oh golly, it must be 3 years ago now, it must be. And really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, that one there. And this year she's got planned bunting. And I thought, oh, now that is something practical. I could do some really lovely fabric bunting across my front studio window, and I'd like to do that. So I might do that. And I would like to get back to doing more art journaling. I used to art journal every single day. And I haven't done it now for a couple of years, and I should. I should. Okay, so let's just get this down, shall we? Okay. I've got most of it. Okay, just to take the white glare off that a bit. It's a good scrap to get rid of. I know I would like to actually coffee dye some more paper, like a lot of paper this year. And I guess it's easier now to do it in the summer here than it is in the winter. Although, yeah, summer, with our humidity here, because we're on the far north coast in Grafton, and it is kind of tropical in a way, it really is. So you get the humidity, and paper, as you know, and humidity, yeah, not very good bedfellows. So I've got a dehumidifier going now. You might be able to hear a nice hum in the background. That's the dehumidifier. I get, on really bad days, I get probably about 3 buckets of water out of the air, just so that my paper is really good. That's why I like to sell my journals as soon as I make them. I've got Christmas stock lying around now. Oh yeah, go over to my Etsy shop at 18 Mundy Street Journals. please have a look and see, especially for those friends in Australia. I've got, I hope you'll think that they're reasonable prices. I always like to keep them low for Christmas, and I include free postage within Australia. If you're overseas and you see something you like, I know I've got exorbitant postage on the overseas, but contact me, and what I'll do is I will do a specific quotation for wherever in the world it is that you are. Because, okay, I'm going to come clean and admit either I'm too lazy or I'm just too stupid, which is probably the latter, to know how to get all the different postage things for everywhere in the world. So I do know, I've sent some stuff to America before, and it was $60 postage. I've sent things to New Zealand and it's $55 postage. So I've kind of gone with that and quoted that for everywhere. So if you don't like that idea of the cost, contact me and I'll give you a quote for your specific region. That's what I'll do. I think that would even be better. And we can then I can just amend the Etsy listing for you specifically if you want to buy X, Y, or Z, and it'll be all good. So yeah, contact me through the Etsy shop. Send me a message, and that's what we can do for you. But don't forget how long you'll know. It takes a long time to get overseas from Australia. We really are down under. We really are. There's so many things I've seen that I'd love to purchase from America, but the postage is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It's actually cheaper from Europe, from England. But it has to be something really special. Luckily, we've got a lot of good online stores in Australia, and there's always Amazon too. We've got Amazon here now in Sydney, which is brilliant. Oh, that's so pretty. I think I might put that there just because I think it needs it. Yeah, so I just thought I'd get something up today and wish everyone a really Merry Christmas and a safe, and especially coming into the new year, creatively amazing, fun year to come in 2024. Let me know in the comments what you've got planned. If you're going to join in any challenges, if you're just going to craft. I mean, I had a lot of plans at the beginning of this year and they all got blown out of the water with personal things. So I'm better off if I don't make a lot of plans. Except to say I'm going to enjoy every second that I'm with you, that I'm here, that I'm able to craft. And let's enjoy it. And to all of you out there who are suffering pain, who have experienced bereavement, who's having family issues or all kinds of horrid things that happen in our lives from time to time, just know that you're not alone, and there are so many people that are also, trying to help by giving crafting lessons, mini tutorials, fun things to do. Because I don't know about you, but when I get here in my happy place, all of the cares and troubles and sorrows and all of that just get forgotten for however long I'm in here. That's why I like to lock myself in from morning till night. Not that I have too many sorrows, but I don't want to make light of it. But you're in our prayers, and I hope to goodness that you can use our wonderful community here, reach out, have a chat, and craft along and make something beautiful and make the world a little brighter by making something beautiful. Anyway, now I'm really waffling. I don't want to offend anybody. Just want to say thank you so much, everybody. It's been a fantastic year. Don't forget to subscribe. How many times have I said that now? YouTube, I hope you're listening. I've done the deed. Yeah, let's just keep being creative, and you inspire me, all of you. How many? Actually, I'll just tell you how many people I subscribe to. How many subscribers? Let's see. Subscriptions. How many do I have? Okay, well, it's not coming up now, but I think I have 400 and something people I subscribe to, and every day I'm finding new talent, new people, and it's fascinating. So yeah, I've got my oldies and all of that, but I love all the new ones. Oh, excuse my hands, look at that. This was a nail polish my husband bought me, and expensive for Christmas. And I haven't done much work to really warrant it being chipped this early, but it's all starting to chip. There's 2 coats on. Isn't that shocking? I'll just move it quickly so you can't see. I do like my hands painted. They look better with painted nails. They don't look so old. But anyway, I digress. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you have an enjoyable time over this silly season. Tinsel madness is real. Try and stay away from the tinsel. It does cause madness. Have a good day, and we'll have a great creative year together. We will. So subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon. And my apologies for rambling and half-told stories. I mean, that's just me. I'm the same as if you were here in person. I do. I walk into a room, I don't know what I've gone in there for. I start a sentence, I forget halfway what I'm talking about. Oh, Lordy. Never mind. It's all fun. So yes, so we got 1, 2, I can't believe that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pages done just in that time, chatting, and they're quite nice pages. They will turn into lovely journal cards, or the backing for some, belly bands. Yeah, so after Christmas, be on the lookout for old, diaries and things, especially the ones with the ring binder, so that you can pull them out from anywhere as you go through them all through the year. They really do come in so handy. Oh, that's getting a bit gator mouth now. I might have to, maybe that'll be the next video. We'll go through and we'll actually make some journal cards. Is there a blue page that I can turn into for my blue journal? Oh, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. That's pretty. Blue and green go well together anyway. Yeah, so we might do journal cards in the next video. Thank you for staying here. If you've made it to the end, you need a medal. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. You're amazing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. See ya.